Welcome on back to the Rabbit Hole. The regular season of 2021 college football is in the books, and holy shit, did it wind up right at the end, because Bedlam was hell of a game, and after Bedlam was a hell of an off season, if you will. I don't even know if it's an off season yet, but it sure did feels like it. Before we get into
not even the off season, and it's already shit has hit the fan.
Yeah, for real. The off season lasted, or the regular season ended, and like 2 seconds later, the off season began, and it's everyone like poo 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 poo. It was basically they took one from the fucking Boone Pickens Stadium. They saw this, and everyone started firing off. It was crazy. Before we get into it, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at the Bacus here, at PrestonPool405, and at Jake Cart. We're still going to be talking sports. It's not going to stop just because the regular season of the college football year has ended. Sports does not stop. Clearly, we all know that. If anyone, Preston, out of all of us knows that it does not stop. Death just keeps coming. Before we get into your stuff, Jake, I think I'd be remiss to say that the floor is yours to speak, because you're the only one that had a team that won this weekend. So before I get into letting you speak, I'm just going to say Ohio State got ran over. There's nothing to say. They just got beat. That's all there is to it. They got beat. They got ran over. They couldn't stop the run. They got the run going about 3 times, and that was it. The pass game was on point, but the run game was not going. Congrats to that team up north. Jake, the floor is yours. Bedlam.
I mean, what a game. It was crazy. Of course, it never goes how you think it's going to go. I will say regarding, I think in the middle, besides having Bedlam in the middle of the season, that's probably the best weather like I've been to at Bedlam in a long time. I think it's like 50 degrees.
Perfect weather. Weather. The breeze picked up in the third quarter.
Yeah, so that was a crazy detail of the game. And then obviously, I was feeling good in the beginning. We came out and scored, and I was feeling high. And then our defense kind of let up and OU kind of found a rhythm. And, I think Gundy kind of said that in the press conference before the game of like, OU, the 14-18 first plays is really good. And, I was sitting there kind of nervous, and then Brendan Presley took the kickoff to the house. And then I thought, okay, maybe I was like, usually throughout history, Bedlam usually most of the time is predicted on to the special teams. Whoever gets those big special teams plays usually comes out ahead. So I was thinking, okay, maybe we're good. And then kind of the wheels fell off for us there. In a 2 minutes span, we had a safety on us. We threw almost basically a pick six, missed the field goal. Like I thought the world was crumbling in on us. And then we ended up in that second half. Defense stepped up, didn't allow a point on defense. So, craziness happened. I mean, 2 muff punts, return, a missed field goal, the safety, like it's just an insane game to get it going. It was huge for us, sealing the Big 12 championship against Baylor. So, I don't even know what to say. Jake
has been pretty much. I've talked to Jake between Bedlam. I was I guess not obviously. If you don't follow me on social media, you wouldn't have known. But I was at the game with Jake. Hell of an atmosphere. Boone Pickens Stadium was rocking. I've been to some pretty cool games. Not like anything crazy, but that was the craziest environment I've ever been in. It was the loudest stadium I've ever been in. It was unreal. That right there, and you've seen national media talking about it when they watched it on TV. That game was what you want in college football. That was the epitome of college football. It was back and forth. There was shitty calls on both sides. There was great plays on both sides, and it came literally right down to the wire. You couldn't ask for a better cap to the season than that game right there. And being in that stadium, oh, what a privilege it was. Thank you, Jake, because Jake invited me, and what a hell of a game that was. Preston, I'll go to you because I know you probably got a lot to say just on Bedlam alone, let alone everything else we're going to talk about. For the Sooner fans that didn't watch anything but like 5 plays, there's bad calls in every game. And if you watch that first half, Oklahoma State was getting their ass fucked by the refs. I mean, there was a clear offsides by OU that led to that safety. And then that just steamrolled everything. There's bad calls on both sides. It's football. It's sports. They didn't execute certain plays. And I think a lot that we're going to talk about played into that. A lot of the distractions off the field played into that, looking back on it now. But Preston, watching that game, how do you feel? Are you alive? I know the grenade's not in the back, so must be that pin might have gotten pulled. Oh, there it is. There it is. It survived. That pin might have gotten pulled after Bedlam, but if it did get pulled after Bedlam, it sure as shit got pulled after Sunday. Preston, let's hear what your thoughts were on Bedlam.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really give you too many thoughts on Bedlam because, unfortunately, the beers were flowing that day. And that was one of the ones where you need to drink because I had to drink away my sorrows. And I refused to rewatch the game because that's just the type of person I am. I'm not going to rewatch a loss. I'm not going to relive that twice. But, no. I mean, look, it is what it is. Especially after the things that we've heard after the game and everything that's happened. It sounds like that dipshit that was coaching the game probably had one foot out anyways. Not saying that's what led to OSU beating OU, but it certainly didn't help the cause for the Sooners when the head coach's mind is more than likely elsewhere. But no, congrats to OSU. They came out, they played, they shut down that offense in the second half. And I thought that, Caleb Williams breaking off that run there, what was that? Like less than a minute left or something like that?
I think it was like 34 seconds, maybe 24 seconds left.
I thought that might be where they're able to come back and score right there. And unfortunately didn't. It is what it is. Bigger things on hand for the Sooners at the moment. No need to sit back and worry about a loss.
Speaking of, I mean, we're going to get right into it.
Because I was going to say, let's say about that Caleb Williams run, dude. To be honest, I don't know if you could see it on TV, but at the game, he was running down the middle of the field, and then he kind of angled, like he made Taylor miss, and then like if he would have just ran down the middle, he would have been gone. But he started angling towards the sideline.
He did a little too much. He did a little too much.
Well, the thing is, I mean, he kind of had to. It was not just that, but the possession before that. I mean, when there was like a minute 50 on the clock, and then it was fourth down, and then he made everybody miss, came back around, and then Devin Harper had a shoestring tackle where he was like 5 yards short. But if you were to look the other way, dude, he was gone. There was nobody there. Like 100%. He got shoestring, so there's
in the middle of that run. And Preston,
stuff.
You've been to games, so you kind of know, and viewers and listeners, if you've been to live games, you kind of know what I'm talking about. When something like that happens and it's almost like the whole dynamic switches and you're in the middle of that play, it's dead silent. It's dead silent. Like Boone Pickens was like, you could almost hear him fucking drop. Everyone was like, it being in Boone Pickens, everyone was like, did we just have our heart ripped out? But they didn't have their heart ripped out. Oklahoma State has been just murdering everyone else in Oklahoma because OU might be dead. Is OU dead? The Pokes killed the Sooners.
No, OU's not dead.
OU might be dead.
That's one thing that I'm confident saying that OU's not dead. They have the leadership in place to get them through the things that have happened the last 72 hours. Does it suck? Yeah, 100% that sucks. Just to get, things ripped out from underneath you, half the coaching staff leave.
15 minutes after the game ended, Lincoln Riley was telling everyone, hey, shut up. I'm not going to LSU.
Yeah, no.
6 hours later, he was on a flight to LA. And reports are coming in that he actually was going to take that LSU job. I don't know if you saw that, but reports are coming in. Yeah. Now, if they're credible, I don't know. I think it was Michael Lombardi. He tweeted out or had a quote that was basically saying it was all but a done deal. They had a presser ready for Sunday afternoon. Lincoln Riley to be announced as the LSU head coach. USC swooped in. Now, whether this happened, I don't believe it. I don't believe it happened in the middle of the night as it first started. I don't believe USC called him up Sunday at 1 a.m. and was like, hey, do you want to be our coach? And he was like, yeah, sure. Why not? I don't believe that's true. I believe it's been in the works. They're all lying. They have to lie because then it's this huge scandal and then blah, 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 blah. but I don't believe he was going to go to LSU, whether something was going to happen. He shut that report down. Hey, I ain't going to LSU. Next question. Next question should have been, are you going to go anywhere?
Yeah.
Because now he's not. Now he's barely lying, you know?
And I think the reason that wasn't asked is because I believe after that he said that I'm not going to be the head coach at LSU next year. Let's quit talking about it, blah, blah, blah. So it kind of led to where everyone was like, okay, well that sells it. Because no one knew anything about USC. Absolutely no one.
No one. That came out. So Lincoln Riley's the new head coach of University South California. Fitting that it's the Trojans. Because they're fucking scumbags out there. And so Preston, welcome to the club. I've hated USC for as long as I've known college football. I think part of me becoming an Ohio State fan. Yeah, part of me becoming an Ohio State fan was it was a time where the rivalry with Ohio State was in the air. And I just liked Ohio State better. And so I've hated USC ever since I've even known college football. So I'm with you on that. For once, brothers in arms, other than picks, brothers in arms right here. And yeah, Lincoln, another one. We're just going to keep talking about it. Brian Kelly left Notre Dame to go to LSU, which was a life-saving move by LSU, because if they had Lincoln and then he left them, ripped the carpet out from under them, they had to do something. What are you going to do? Go get the guy that already can build. He doesn't even need to build LSU. LSU is LSU. All he needs to do is the recruiting. It's a little bit easier to recruit at LSU than it is Notre Dame, with the religion aspect, the academic aspect of it all. It's probably a little bit easier. And guess what? You got a potential to get a conference championship and get into the playoffs. Whereas Notre Dame, you just don't have that. So much has happened. But Preston, what were the first? I saw you on Twitter. You had a little bit of, not a meltdown, but you were letting people know, like, hey, your life's spiraling out. I thought you were going to rip a cigarette or something. But what were your initial reactions when you saw those first reports about USC?
There's nothing like waking up Sunday morning violently hungover, and then your world just gets ripped out from underneath you at like 2:30 in the afternoon. The first thing I saw, I think it was Pete Thamel said around 1:30ish that USC was eyeing Lincoln Riley as their next head coach. And I kind of thought right then, I was like, well, that kind of sounds like he's going to be leaving. Because when you see those guys like tweet out, so-and-so's eyeing so-and-so as their next head coach, that usually means like that's more than likely.
There are certain people.
That's like what Lincoln's famous for, isn't it? The little eyeball thing, like the little eye thing. Like,
he's so basically copyrighted that emoji. And but now he might as well join KD with the snake. I mean, everyone that watches, everyone that knows me from this show, I am not an OU supporter. I'm borderline an OU hater. No, I am an OU hater.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no borderline right there.
Lincoln Riley sucks. Thank you for agreeing with me. Lincoln Riley sucks. He's not that great. And Preston, you might be the only one I'll give the pass to. But for OU fans that were just 48 hours ago sucking his dick, being like, oh, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then I get it. Circumstances are circumstantial. Things change in a flip of a switch. You can hate someone 1 minute, love them the next, and vice versa. But boy, is it fun watching OU fans just hate on Lincoln Riley 48 hours after sucking his dick. I mean, it's unreal. It's kind of amazing. It's one of those things like, you like him when he's on your side, but whenever he, completely stabs you in the back and shits down your throat, fuck you kind of thing. Yeah. And the way he did it, you kind of get a little bit of leeway with hating him. I mean, if any of those reports are true, I know some of them have been debunked by players, but if any of the reports that he just basically said, fuck you to all those players without saying fuck you are true, he's a scumbag. He's a fucking scumbag. And he fits in Hollywood. They're all fake. They're all fake out there. And did you watch the press conference with USC? Did you watch that?
God, no. I would not.
I watched it for the pure fact because I wanted to see how he'd react. If you listen to what he said and listen to how the administration there was talking and stuff, they all are lying through their teeth. They all are lying right through their teeth. It's honestly insane.
He said there's nothing uncomfortable about this situation. Nothing. Literally nothing. Just stone cold killer. It was amazing. I watched it. And then, I mean, dude, the best part about the whole situation was the president of OU coming out and literally word for word saying the exact same thing that Bob Bowlesby said in the Big 12 press conference when OU and Texas decided to go to the SEC about they wanted more notice and how this could happen. And it's just like, oh, man, I mean.
And see, my big difference with that is that, like, OU and Texas had voiced discomfort in the Big 12 for, a decade. And the Big 12 didn't do anything about it until they bolted. Because I guarantee you, if the Big 12 would have added, Cincinnati and BYU and them, 5 years ago, OU and Texas probably aren't bolting for the SEC. OU and Texas just got tired of being the cash cows for the Big 12, and none of the other schools really, doing much about it. But I mean, say those things. It is what it is. It's just one of those things where
I agree with you, Preston.
Fan.
I agree with you in the sense that, and I agree kind of both ways. Yeah, it's a scumbag move that he didn't give him more notice and like kind of just ripped the rug right out. And also, by the way, the fact that he wore the OU shoes to LA, like that was hilarious. And then like literally 8 hours after he landed in LA, he's got USC shirts on, doing a home visit with an OU commit. That's insane. I mean, and he is the one guy, I've seen it more than anyone else, that talks about fucking recruit tampering. That's like his big thing is sportsmanship and recruiting and like doing it by the books. This dude is the biggest. He recruited for USC on OU's dime. He's probably been in contact since they fired what was their old Clay Helton. He's probably been talking to them since then. I mean, you have to think that there's not going to be any way to prove it unless I shouldn't even, I'm not even going to say it, but if he does something scummy, like in his personal life and his friends or family ever want to out him, boy, he's going to have he's a snake. He's a snake. That's all there is to say about it.
From what I've listened to and read over the last, 48, 72 hours is that most people think that this was done on Thanksgiving. Like the deal was done on Thanksgiving, whether that be with LSU or USC. I mean, look, the USC stuff could have actually happened, Saturday night into Sunday morning. But either way, there was a deal done at some school, just not signed yet, obviously, because he couldn't do that while still coaching at OU. But I mean, it sucks. This is bad, but I got faith in Joe Castiglione. He's made great hires so far.
Bro, I mean, did you definitely watch the OU presser? Bob Stoops was shaking.
Yeah, but
he looked like he was scared of the SEC too.
No, one thing Bob Stoops is not scared of is the SEC, and that all the speak from Joe Castiglione was just Joe Castiglione speak. Like if you've ever listened to any of his pressers or anything like that, that's just that way.
To be fair, that was the first time I ever watched anything like very intrinsically to pay attention to everything they're saying and doing, because like the body language says a lot too. And Bob Stoops was shaking like he was scared, but that also, I don't know. Maybe that's just Bob. Maybe it was just like he's nervous being back with the OU crowd or something.
I mean, it'll be the same thing, dude. It's just like how OU fans said the Big 12's dead, OU's dead, but don't worry, it'll be fine. Here in a couple of years, we will play Lincoln Riley in the playoffs and beat them for you. So it's not going to be the end of the world. That is the most optimistic thing I have ever heard Jake say.
I mean, he's just got to hope his whole defense stays for 5 years again. So.
I mean, hey, Gundy said yesterday that most of the defense is going to stay. If we can keep – the only thing I'm really worried about is Jim Knowles at this point right now. If Jim Knowles stays, then we next year should be really, really good. And with OU completely falling apart as they have of all the decommits and not just future commits, but people on the team in the transfer portal, I mean, it's like people jumping the Titanic right now. So, I mean,
and to be fair, there are some players voicing their support and staying for OU. So like, there's both sides of the coin right now. Like and it makes sense.
I mean,
like you can't harp on a recruit for saying they're going to decommit.
No, not at all.
You can't harp on that. I support that 100. I respect.
And as far as like transfer portal guys go, that's just a way to save their ass in case they don't like the new hire. They can jump out. But I mean, look, if they hire the person that I'm thinking they're going to hire, especially on defense, they're going to be able to keep most of those defensive guys.
So you think they're going to hire Brent Venables?
I have no sources or anything to back that up.
No, this is a free for all. If you take anything we say for fucking
no sources,
we are not the freaking 10 commandments around here. All right, like don't put that much faith in us.
And like we were texting yesterday, it's just there's too much smoke for there not to be a fire on this thing.
Yeah. Is it one of those things you think they're waiting just to like do their due diligence or make sure the contract is exactly how they want it to be?
That could be the thing,
staff or what?
Brent Venables is one of those guys that's very loyal and likes to do things the right way. And he's out on recruiting trips with Dabo right now. So I could see him, finishing up their recruiting. I think they're supposed to finish it up today, head back to Clemson, say whatever he needs to say to his guys. And then, Thursday comes around, they have a press conference or introduce them or whatever it is. But the faster they do this, the better it is for 100%. Keeping the recruiting class together and keeping players on campus.
And, that might be part of what Bob Stoops is doing to help OU is like, hey, we have X guy that's going to be here. We can't announce it yet. We can't we're doing our due diligence. He's doing his due diligence. And I saw someone tweet out about Brent Venables, not an exact quote, but basically saying that they could see Brent Venables in this moment going to the recruits that he's recruiting for Clemson, being like, hey, go to Clemson. You got a great coach in Dabo. Like, it's a great program, but I'm not going to be there. Like, being straightforward. If that's the type of guy
from everything that I've read, and that's everything I've read. That's the type of guy he is. He's going to be straightforward with you. He's going to be honest with you. He sounds like a good coach and all that. So.
Yeah, from my understanding, though, was that Brent, I felt this from an outsider because I'm not truly an OU fan and know the ins and outs of inside the program, but I thought Brent Venables kind of got ran out of Norman and he took the Dabo job and it really wasn't a step up at the time. I feel it was like a lateral move. And, I don't know, maybe he is big time in the program.
Basically what happened was Bob fired one of Brent's guys and then brought in his brother Mike. And then Brent just said, all right, I'm just going to leave and go to Clemson. But there was a time where they met and he was going to not go to Clemson and stay at OU. But he just thought that the right thing was to go to Clemson. But I've read that they've still kept their relationship. There's no hate towards any of them in that respect. So I don't think there's any bridges that were burned.
Do you think there's any hate between Lincoln and Bob Stoops? Because in the USC
press, you heard that in the press conference. No, you heard that in the press conference yesterday. Yeah, Lincoln Riley's not happy, or Bob Stoops is not happy with Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I don't know if Lincoln knows that. I don't think he got the memo because he's like, from
what we've learned about Lincoln Riley, I don't think he gives a shit. Yeah, I don't think Lincoln Riley cares. So you're obviously hoping for the biggest failure at USC in ever. I mean, it wouldn't hurt my feelings.
What happens if they win a national title?
Yeah, as an unbiased.
I mean, look, he is in the conference.
Do you think that's a smart? Unbiased take? Do you think it was a smart move for him to move to USC?
For the money, the place you're sitting at, in recruiting, and the conference you're playing at, yes.
All right, that's what I wanted to hear. Because I agree. I think it is. I don't agree with how he did it. I think he's a snake for doing what he did. But with all that set aside, with the OU move to the SEC, him moving to the Pac-12, if he can fucking rebuild USC back to prominence and even win a national title in the recruiting hotbed he's in, he can recruit within a 30-mile radius and he'll have the number one recruiting class in America.
Also, I'm scouring the message boards right now for OU as we're doing this, and
that's like the football fans crack.
They someone posted on one of the threads on here, Venables in Hayes, Kansas, on a recruiting trip, and they zoomed in on his watch and it says 2 p.m. So they said that had to be yesterday because the tweet got sent out an hour ago.
Had to be. So he was in Hayes.
Basically, his watch says 2 p.m. The photo was tweeted today, an hour ago, and it's now 1 o'clock here in the Central Time Zone. So that's the level that OU fans are going to right now.
Wow, you guys are stupid down to some. You guys are like the fucking Dave Chappelle. Like, you got any more of that? Wow. Yeah, I mean, message boards. Like OU fans instantly turned into LSU message board fans. Like you guys went flight tracker mode and message board mode. Like, wow, haven't seen anything of likes of this in a while.
I mean, they were already heated because of Bedlam, and then you just poured gasoline on it, you know?
Yeah, but I think they actually stomped that fire out and just started another one because I don't know I haven't seen a single OU fan talk about Bedlam since the news broke about Lincoln going to USC.
Well,
didn't have time to.
Yeah.
Yeah, the program just got killed.
All the radio shows in the area, I mean, you tune into them, not one thing got talked about Bedlam. I mean, fairly they sprinkled in some Bedlam here and there, but there was so much like stupid things happening yesterday.
Yeah, but Lincoln Riley to USC is a 5 to 10 year issue. Potentially, you know, like if you don't get the right coach.
Yeah, he's not going to walk in there and have that thing rolling in year one. That's going to take him at least 5 years to get that thing up to par.
Yeah, well, no, I'm saying for OU. I'm talking about OU. I'm talking about like compared to Bedlam is this year's issue. Lincoln leaving is like a 5 to 10 year issue.
You say that, but they make the right hire and they keep the recruiting class together. I mean, you're good because the main focus, we've had the 2023 commits, jump ship. The main focus needs to be keeping the 22 class together, getting as many of them on campus. And some of them have done interviews and whatnot. And they say, if OU makes the right hire, then, we'll stay. And another big thing is getting Caleb Williams to stay. From what I heard, he's staying with the team to do bowl prep and all that. So that's good news on that. Because I feel like if he was going to absolutely 100% transfer, he probably would have hit the portal by now. Yeah. So,
what's crazy
if Caleb leaves, he has in big trouble. I mean, recruiting is going to hurt you a lot, but this is what a lot of people like. Even in recruiting, like, here's the thing, dude. It's like you look at like Texas. The where they went wrong is not just the head coaching and stuff like that, but it's the wide receivers coaches, it's the strength and conditioning, it's defensive coordinator. Like it's not like at OSU, our success is not just Mike Gundy. Mike Gundy is a huge part of it, but Jim Knowles is a big part of it. Rob Glass, Casey Dunn, there's those guys are the unsung heroes that really carry your program to the next level. And with Lincoln cleaning house, dude, that's a way bigger blow.
But the biggest saving grace is he took Alex Grinch. Like you guys might have a good defense.
Well, and here Jamar Cain looks like he's willing to stay on board. Calvin Thibodeau is willing to stay on board. Those are two of the biggest defensive recruiters that you had for OU.
DeMarco Murray on the offensive side.
DeMarco Murray going to stay. Cale Gundy obviously isn't going anywhere. Bill Bedenbaugh, the offensive line coach right now, it seems like he's leaning towards staying in Norman. If you think about it, there's going to be obviously Lincoln Riley is gone as basically head coach, offensive coordinator, and then you have Dennis Simmons gone. Which, if we're being honest, yes, he can recruit, but what have his wide receivers done this year? It's just one of those things. Like they've underwhelmed with all the 5-star talent they've had in that room this year. Anyone can see that, but I think it's big that on the defensive side, you're going to be able to keep some of your best recruiters in that way. And Cale Gundy is one of the best recruiters on the entire staff. Some of the guys that he's recruited in the past. So.
One thing Lincoln said in his presser at USC, and don't word for word quote me on this, but it was pretty much along the lines of he wanted to bring guys from his staff that he felt could continue to progress and get better year after year. The defense has regressed year after year. I feel like your defense has not gotten better year after year. If anything, it's done the opposite. Maybe not talent wise. I'm saying like schematically and actual plays. Alex Grinch has been on the hot seat for 2 years, and he took him with him. Like USC's about that. Now, if USC has a good defense, then it's like, all right, maybe it was the program. But I think USC's defense is not going to be that.
Well, and Alex Grinch is a West Coast guy. He's basically planted his foot in the Pac-12 is where he started coaching and whatnot. So it made sense for him to want to go with Lincoln Riley out to USC just because he's been a West Coast guy. Because he was the defensive coordinator at Washington State before he went to Ohio State and then eventually to OU. So,
yeah, I think they complement their systems good. Like Grinch is used to the air raid. He's used to the offense scoring 60 points and being on the field the whole time. So I think from a schematic standpoint, Alex Grinch actually is not that bad. The problem that they're running into now is like Alex Grinch is great, but USC as of today, their defense is terrible. Like they're the worst pass defense in the entire Pac-12. So like you're walking into a system of like, it's going to be the same thing over again. Lincoln's going to put 60 on the board and let up 55. Like that's just what's going to happen here for a little while. Cause USC defense is really bad.
I do think, and I know we kind of talked about it through text, Jake, at least, and I did, and I said, if USC can get back, like that's a hotbed. That is a hotbed, especially with these NIL deals now that you're able to do.
Yeah.
USC, this is the best. I mean, it could have been Brian Kelly that they hired. They just needed a big name coach that can act. Lincoln Riley is actually the perfect fit. Like Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, because Lincoln Riley recruits Southern California very well.
Yeah.
So it made sense for him because out of the 2023 class that they had at OU, I think 5 of them were Southern California guys and all 5 stars. So
and exactly, he's going to be able to recruit in his backyard. Left and I honestly think this is what brings USC back. It might not be next year. It might be 2 years from now. It might be 3. But if he can have even the slightest success he had at OU with the recruiting base that he has in California, I mean, USC's back before Texas.
And the thing is, he's leaving at the Big 12 for an easier conference.
100%. 100%.
So all he's going to have to deal with is Oregon.
Yeah, but as rising tides float all ships, or whatever that saying is, USC getting this much better just made Oregon and it makes all the other teams in the Pac-12 just a little bit better because now there's a little bit of competition. Now people have something to want to stay in the Pac-12 and be like, just for the same reason people go to OU because they didn't get an offer from Texas. People are going to stay in the Big 12 or the Pac-12 because they didn't get an offer from Lincoln to go to USC. They're going to go to Oregon because they want to beat his ass, which you obviously would be a supporter of that. I know, like anyone that could beat Lincoln's ass, you're going to support. But with the playoffs expanding and everything that's going on in the college football, I do think the Pac-12 is rising up. USC is going to be right there at the top. They really are.
I think it'll be like OU 2.0. I think Lincoln will win like 7 Pac-12 championships in a row or something stupid. The one thing that I'm excited about for that is that the USC Notre Dame rivalry will be kind of renewed of that. Unless, I don't know.
Now you got to think about Now you got.
They're probably going to hire Urban Meyer.
Oh God. Well, please no.
No, I think they're probably going to.
That's exactly
we can all agree. We all don't like Notre Dame. We don't want Urban going there.
Before we get into the Notre Dame talk, be sure now that we're about halfway through the episode, be sure to like, comment, subscribe on the channel. Hit that subscribe button, please. It actually helps. Follow us on Twitter at the biggest here, at PressPool405 and at Jake Cart. But let's get in and talk the Notre Dame stuff. Notre Dame, it seems like they're going to hire that defensive coordinator. I think it's Marcus Freeman. I might have that first name wrong. That seems like the most likely option. I did see a report just before recording. And by the way, we are recording around noon on Tuesday. So if you are listening to this in the future and things have happened and changed, this is our recording time. It's around noon Central Time on Tuesday, November 30th. So whatever's happened up to this point is what we're talking about. I did see a report right before that Brian Kelly's trying to get him to go to LSU with him and make him the highest paid defensive coordinator in history, or I don't know about in history, but in the college football landscape right now. If that becomes true, that's a huge loss for Notre Dame. It seems like, because he seems like the next guy that the whole board of regents and all the Notre Dame fans want to be the guy. I don't know. I really am not a Notre Dame follower. I'm more of a predominant Notre Dame hater. I think they're boring, if you will, but that would be a huge thing if they take that D coordinator out of if he takes that D coordinator out of Notre Dame, brings him to LSU. That's a big drop for Notre Dame. They're going to probably drop significantly unless they can get someone like. I honestly don't know who would go.
Well, here's the thing: we're missing out on this whole entire point of this is that Notre Dame still has a chance to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, which is mind-blowing that Brian Kelly is leaving for a school that has a better chance of making the playoffs year in and year out. And the team he's leaving potentially this weekend could make the playoffs. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it helps me tremendously because I feel like that's got to hold weight in the playoff rankings of if you're going to see it, because he already announced that he will not coach no matter what.
100%.
He's not going to coach if they go to the playoffs. So I feel like that's going to hold a lot of weight, and that today OSU should jump Notre Dame in the rankings. If we don't, we're kind of in trouble. But that should hold the weight.
And another thing that we're overlooking is who's right now. We can have a debate on who's the bigger scumbag, Lincoln Riley or Brian Kelly, because Brian Kelly texted his players, men. Just want to tell you that I'm leaving. Be at the office at 7 a.m. and we're going to have a meeting. And then 11 minutes for him to sit there and be like, yeah, I got a better offer, blah, blah, blah. I'm leaving. A 7 a.m. meeting. I would, if I was one of them players, you fucking wouldn't catch me dead in that meeting.
Oh, no. I would have texted back, no thanks.
Yeah, honestly, I would have texted back to you. I'd be like, I would have just been like, yeah, nah, sorry. No thanks. So who's, I mean, that's pretty, that's a, now it's more likely that Brian Kelly got sniffed out in less than 24 hours than Lincoln Riley. I think the Lincoln Riley thing was him leaving was in the works for months, or at least weeks, it feels like. Brian Kelly, maybe not so much. Brian Kelly might actually be the actual situation of what Lincoln Riley describes, where they called him up in the middle of the night. Hey, you want the job? And he's like, yeah, actually, this sounds pretty good. But who's the bigger scumbag? Because going about that way, he seemed like he gave two fucks about the players, which in college football, that comes first.
As of right now, we don't really know what the contract Lincoln has signed. Is it like there's rumors? But
so from what I've read, they've bought both of his homes here in Norman, $500,000 over the asking price. So that's basically like the $1 million signing bonus right there. They've given him free use of the school private jet whenever he wants it. They bought him a $6 million home in LA.
He has a private jet.
Yeah. And then so anywhere from 12 to 15 a year million.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
those are unconfirmed, I believe, but that does sound like
that's not confirmed, but
it's floating around like Kelly.
With Brian Kelly, it is confirmed, isn't it? It's 15 a year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like that.
Was it? I thought it was 95.
I'm pretty sure I saw
10.
that. I'm pretty sure I saw it around 15 mil a year.
I saw 95 over 10.
Maybe that was a rumor. I saw 15 a year, but that would make him the highest paid coach, wouldn't it?
100%.
Like that. Yeah, 100%. That he would be the highest paid. So, I can't, it's hard to knock him if he's going to be the highest paid coach in America. And if you think about it, Brian Kelly, like he's always been a really good coach. And the one area he's kind of struggled in is recruiting, in a sense of that he's always been so close, but never gotten over the hump. And you've seen how Coach O has always gotten the recruits there to LSU. Like Coach O was always an unbelievable recruiter.
I think Brian Kelly's going to do the same. I think Brian Kelly's going to have an easier job at LSU. LSU recruits itself.
Talent. Yeah,
LSU recruits itself just like USC does.
It's kind of like how Bob Stoops, when he came in '99, like he inherited that talent and then won a national title with it. So, the thing is I think inheriting that talent is huge. You're number one paid coach and you inherit that talent.
I don't think he's inheriting that much talent. LSU is probably 2 years away from really being a contender again. But I do think it says something. LSU is a brand that those college football fans or players, really recruits, prospects down in the Southeast. They want to play for LSU just as much as those kids in South California want to play for USC, but they sucked the last 20 years or 10 years or whatever. LSU recruits itself. You just need a coach that can win, and Brian Kelly wins. As much as I hate to say it, Brian Kelly wins. That's all there is. And Preston, what are you reading? Because I see something.
Nothing.
Is it sports related? Because if it's not sports related, I'll give it up.
It's OU head coaching related.
Oh, come on. Hit me with it.
And it's just message board stuff, but
I want to hear what the message boards are saying. Come on.
They're saying sources have Venables in Norman right now, which we went through that yesterday.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
Charlie Weiss, please.
Oh my God, Mike Leach in Norman.
No.
Hand up, yeah, I did get fooled by a fucking troll account. I fucking was playing Xbox yesterday and just quickly read a tweet and it said Nick Saban, and I got the second I sent it to you guys, I reread the thing and I was like, "Fuck, I got it."
Yeah, I know. I opened that and I was like, that seems not right. So I just opened Twitter and just like went through my most recent like tweets on my timeline. And I was like, yeah, that's a fake.
Rookie mistake of not even looking at the name. I just didn't even look. I was playing Xbox and I got overexcited because that would be a fucking land. But Preston, let's actually talk about that because I actually wanted to hear not just over text, but actual thought, opinion on it. I actually think Deion would, we talked about this. Deion, I think, would be a huge get for OU, not in the coaching sense, but in the sense that people want to play for him. And if they could play for him and add a fucking blue blood like OU, as long as he gets the right people around him,
That's the thing. Like if he had coached more than, just Jackson State, I would entertain it a little bit more, but I just don't think that's not a Joe C hire right there. That's not something that you're going to see him go out and do. He's going to go get someone that's established, someone that's not like out there, like in the sense of, he does basically whatever he wants type of thing. Deion does. He's not going to go get them. That's why Lane Kiffin would never really be considered for the job. Same as like for an Urban Meyer. Even if Urban wanted to come, I doubt that Joe C would be like, all the stuff that surrounds you, Urban Meyer, is not what we want at OU, which, hey, hand up, I would take Urban Meyer in a heartbeat.
I
wouldn't necessarily like it, but the guy can coach football and I'm all about winning football games. So I'm all for whatever it takes to win a football game.
Jake, what would you say if you saw Deion went as the head coach to OU?
I would be shocked. Yeah, I completely agree with Preston.
I'd be shocked too, but I do think it's a sleeper.
Yeah, I think it is. It's a big sleeper, but that's kind of a stepping stone hire. He's not really been established. He might be a great coach, but it's one of those things that you're taking a big risk, and OU's just not. They're not going to take a big risk after being like that. It's one of those things of, when you're a blue blood program, it doesn't matter how bad, just look at Texas. Like they're always, no matter how bad they are, they always get somebody relevant and established that's a
the next
coach.
Texas head coach after Sark gets booted out of there by those Longhorn fans, Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah. So it's stuff like that.
I don't think Deion would be the head coach of OU, but I do think it would say something for a big name, someone that is a huge name that players want to play for. Like Deion could probably get just about any recruit he wants. Just about, I would imagine, because he's already getting 5 stars down there at an HBCU, which congrats to them because he turned that program around. And I'm not saying his coaching did. I'm saying him hiring the right staff and being able to recruit the right players turned that program around. I think they went 8-1 or 10-1 this year.
One coach we're not thinking about for Notre Dame. What about Matt Campbell?
Yeah, Matt Campbell was in the rumors of that LSU job, right? I mean, he was
and USC
up in there. And USC. So, and I actually thought USC would have been good for Matt. I thought Matt Campbell would have gotten I think USC was more likely to get Matt Campbell than any of the other teams to get Matt Campbell.
Yeah.
And so I never saw Lincoln Riley. I never saw it.
Yeah, I think that the area though of the country fits Matt Campbell well. I think that he would do good at Notre Dame if he were to be able to, snag that job if they wanted him. I mean, look, if anyone can bring Iowa State back to like, not that they're like, one of those top dogs, but to bring Iowa State to what they are at the moment,
they're relevant.
Making a Big 12 championship last year. That's just not really been done at Iowa State.
Yeah, doing more with less.
I just think
it's
huge. Notre Dame is just so hard to recruit for because of the academic requirements. And I'm not saying they can't, because they obviously have been. Brian Kelly's been able to do it. They have a top 5. They're in that top 10 recruiting class year in and year out. And so they've obviously been able to do it. But that's not to say it's not hard to do. You got to have the academic requirements. I'm assuming there's some religious requirements that you got to adhere to, or whatever you want to call it. I'm sure there's something like that. And so it's not an easy school to recruit to. It's not for everyone. Like Lane Kiffin will never be the Notre Dame head coach.
I've never known. Do you have to be confirmed Catholic to go?
I would imagine.
Okay, let's be honest. That's probably no. You don't have to be if we're being honest.
Is it like it's like the
for BYU?
The BYU,
yeah, BYU.
Mormon.
You have to be a fucking Mormon.
Well, yeah, and
bro,
BYU, you have to do like a
bro.
mission. You have to do like a mission trip and all that for BYU. Because I played baseball with a guy that I actually played and went and played football at BYU, and he didn't even get to play his first like year or two because he had to go do a mission trip before he could even like be eligible to do stuff like that. That's why they have like the 30-year-olds playing football at BYU.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But I still imagine it's hard to recruit at Notre Dame. So like whoever takes
like you said, like the academic stuff and all that, like it definitely has to be not an easy job. It has to be tough to be able to do that, because you have to go out there and find the athletes that are good on the field and good in the classroom.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's not saying that athletes are stupid, but like we all get what I'm trying to say.
100%.
Like, most of their focus
it's not
is
their
on
main
the
focus.
sport.
That's what you're.
Yeah.
Sports is their main focus. Academics is not. No matter what, even if you go to Notre Dame, but Notre Dame, you have to have it be up there. Other schools, it's just not your main focus, and they overlook.
Dude. Honestly, it's just opportunity. Most really talented kids somehow always come from poverty-stricken homes, and they don't have the same opportunities that other people have to get higher education. It's not that they're stupid; they just don't have the same options that other people have. So
recruiting wise, who obviously Lincoln's got a hotbed with USC, and Brian Kelly's going to have a hotbed with LSU. Who wins the national championship first, or who has the most success quicker? LSU with Brian Kelly,
the
or
rosters
USC?
that they have right now, you have to think LSU, right?
But you still got Georgia and Bama in there, and then I honestly think Ole Miss is better than LSU.
But who's to say Lincoln doesn't show up to LA and is like, all right, gonna gut that program too as well, because some of the players there, like USC has been down for so long. Yeah, they made it to the Rose Bowl with Darnold and all that, but like since then, it's just they haven't really. They've done. What am I trying to say? They have done nothing with even the talent area that they're around out there.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that's a school that's an easily turnaroundable school. It's just because of where it is.
Well, the thing is, we've seen LSU is the same way too. Coach O goes in there and wins the national championship, and then a year later, or a year and a half later, he's fired.
Yeah, I think he won the national championship his second year, and then he got fired 2 years after that. And so, 100%. It's SEC is the most ebb and flow conference. I just think with Lincoln in the Pac-12, he's going to have that. The potential for success is quicker and easier because of the conference. I think Brian Kelly he's coming in with a great program. It recruits itself, great talent already on the roster. But you're in a conference where it's already established. It's already a dominant conference. Pac-12,
also,
you don't have that.
The SEC just does not give me Brian Kelly vibes at all either. So
definitely not LSU. But hey, I will say this, and I've seen it on Twitter just probably as much as you have, Preston. Yeah, LSU. Brian Kelly doesn't like gumbo. That's the thing. Brian Kelly doesn't like gumbo. I don't know if that's true, but like that, he's not a South guy.
I
He
feel
wins. That's all they care about. He wins. That's all they care about. LSU fans, if you win, they don't give a fuck what you like. Just win the football game. That's it.
I think it's going to be much easier for Lincoln. I think it's the same concept of in the Pac-12, the road's so much easier that you're going to get so many more opportunities in the playoff. Yeah. Where LSU, you lose to Bama, you lose to Georgia, and you're out or whatever. And
100%.
the thing is, on the flip side of that, though, when LSU does get in, they will win. Once you go through murderer's row in the SEC and you get to that number one spot, you're probably going to win the national title if you get in. So it's that way. But I feel it's giving me very like Jimbo Fisher vibes. Like it's almost kind of similar to what Jimbo Fisher and A&M, although I think LSU is a better, recruiting base and stuff like that. So, maybe he got a little bit of it, but I think Jimbo Fisher is a little bit better coach. So it's kind of one of those things of
I just thought of a name for you, Preston. Let me throw. If it's not Brett Venables, if it's not, blah, 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 all the hot name, Lane Kiffin name type things, Mario Cristobal.
Oregon. I can't say that I've paid much attention to Oregon and whatnot the last couple. He's
been able to keep Oregon.
Where was he at before again? Wasn't he on the East Coast somewhere?
Shit. Google time.
Was it Florida State?
Mario Cristobal. I don't know if it was Florida State, but I do. Mario Cristobal. I'm pulling it up. Blah 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 blah.
I mean, to be honest, the best fit.
He was
athletic
assistant head coach. I think AHC at Bama. He was with Bama, and then he was FIU, and then way back in the early 2000s, he was with Miami, Florida, and Rutgers. So the last place before Oregon, he was coach.
So his first head coaching job was Oregon, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
And he's been there. Yeah. He's got his head coaching record is not great, 62-59. But considering it's Oregon in the Pac-12, and
but you also Oregon has the Nike money. Oregon has the Nike money out there, and you come to the middle of the country where OU doesn't have, that type of big money donor right there. Like Phil Knight and Nike is probably like one of the biggest big money donor you can get in all of sports. So
and I don't think he's going to go. I just wanted to toss that name and see what you thought on it. I think Mario Cristobal. I think Oregon is actually. I think Lincoln going to USC is the best thing to happen for Oregon in a while because it creates a dominant player. Obviously, they got to get there. They're not there today, but USC has to get there. But if USC can be actually good, it creates like the Pac-12 isn't just a joke. Like there's at least those two teams that are dominant. It makes Oregon look better. It's going to make USC look better. But what else is going on because so much has happened. It's honestly been such a crazy 48 hours.
Yeah, I'll say this. Preston talked about you don't care, you just want to win, and the morals fit perfect. If that's the real end goal, which scares me, but it's not going to happen, is Art Briles. If you really want to do it, Art Briles at OU would be insanely nasty.
That would never happen. I don't think all my OU stuff. I'd throw it in the trash if Art Briles was hired. That guy is a scumbag piece of shit that deserves to fucking die.
Whoa.
Yeah, 100%. I agree, but
you're
just trying to win. Win-wise, you would win 100%. Like, no doubt.
I think they can find someone else that could win.
I think they just throw the bag at Brent Venables over Art Briles. Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Jake, you got the Big 12 championship game this weekend.
Hey, by the way, have you ever been down there? You ever been down there for a game?
No, I've never been to.
Go hand that by But go down there a little early. Go to Texas Live. It's right across the street from the stadium, in between the Rangers ballpark and Cowboys.
I almost got the hotel room there. They have like a hotel there that I was like thinking about getting, but I was like, there's a little price.
Go there, get some drinks. It's a good time. They have, TVs all over the place. You can even go after the game, watch the rest of the games on that day. They have, giant TVs all over the wall. They've got probably 5 to 6-7 bars in there, restaurants, all that kind of stuff. It's a good time there.
Jake,
Yeah.
what are you thinking for this Big 12 game? Obviously, you assume a win. It's win or go home, basically.
I mean, I don't assume a win, but we're sitting good right now. We should win. But like I've always said,
or what?
That's questionable. See, that's the thing. I don't know. Here's my thing. I think even if he does play, I don't know if he's going to be 100%. So that's a huge key factor. If Bohannon doesn't play at all, like we should easily win. But like I said, we don't always play well as favorites. We're a dog team that gets disrespected, and we rise to the occasion. So, playing favorites is a weird thing for us. But
you're still at 5-point favorites still.
Yeah, it goes 5, 5.5.
Yeah,
6.
Yeah. Last I saw, it was 5
all around. But and who knows if Baylor comes out and says Bohannon definitely is not going to play, it'll probably go even higher.
If Bohannon doesn't play, it's probably going to jump to the 8 to 10 range.
Well, because even though we played it at home, if you go back and watch that Baylor game, we completely dominated on defense. We lost the turnover battle terribly. We were 3 turnovers, they had none. So it was one of those things of we played bad and still beat them. So if we can put a championship game together and play well, and especially if Bohannon doesn't play, we should easily win the game.
If you win the Big 12 championship, do you think you're in the playoffs? I think you are.
Well, okay. So today the rankings come out. If we jump Notre Dame, the only team we worry about is Cincinnati. I mean, depending upon if we just barely beat Baylor, I see us getting screwed. If we completely destroy Baylor, I see us jumping Cincinnati. So it's one of those things. Honestly, it might come down to if Bama wins or not. If Georgia beats Bama, I think we're going to be in. If the good news is I'm nervous for the game, but it's 11 a.m. kickoff. So it's one of those things that kind of sucks. I hate 11 a.m. kickoffs, but at least you get it out of the way and for the rest of the day, all right, we're good. It's all we can do, So as I think we should be in, I mean, I'll put our resume up against anybody else's. We'll have 3 top 10 wins or 2 top 10 wins and 4 top 25 wins. And Cincy has 1 top 10 win or top 25 win and nothing else. And then they're playing Houston, who's 24. And here's the thing too, is if Houston beats Cincinnati, then we might, I mean, it could be crazy chaos. What if fucking Iowa beats Michigan, Houston beats Cincinnati, Georgia beats Bama?
That's the thing with Notre Dame as well. If all the chaos happens that could happen, Notre Dame's going to be sitting there in the playoffs with the interim coach, and it's going to be crazy.
Well, because I'm hoping for a little bit of chaos because, I mean, dude, if we can squeak in, I'll play Michigan, I'll play Cincinnati. I'm trying to steer clear of that Georgia game, but if it is, dude, I mean, it is what it is. But honestly, deep down, I think I feel very strongly that we can beat Cincinnati. And honestly, dude, I think we could beat Michigan. I really do think. I think because, I think. Well, that's what I was going to say. The strength of our team, it fits perfectly. It's not an insane matchup. We don't want to play people that can throw the ball extremely well.
Yep.
People that have really good, that rely on the run, that's our bread and butter because we can stop the run. So it's one of those that the matchup's favorable for us. Although I do think Michigan's defense is really good, but I think if we can play Michigan, if we get in that 2-3 spot and play Michigan, that would be super favorable to us. But 4 playing Georgia is going to be rough, but I'll take it.
Preston, are you going to root for Oklahoma State?
I'm rooting for a tie.
All right.
I honestly, I don't care who wins that one. So
If Oklahoma State makes the playoffs, are you going to root for them?
No, I'm not one of those type of people. I'm not going to root for another team.
Gotcha.
Good job. I agree. 100%
Gotcha.
I agree. Whatever Alamo Bowl or whatever you're going to, I'm not rooting for OU.
And I can't wait for there to be 3 coaches on the sidelines and about 30 players.
Yeah, dude, that might be a bloodbath though too. Like, I don't know. It's one of those that's going to be up in the air. Like you get to be honest, dude, OU's so much better than whoever you're going to play. But then again, you have no coaching staff, so it's like it
might be probably like in Oregon or whoever is in the Pac-12, something like that.
Cincinnati, if they don't make it, Notre Dame maybe. Let's do a quick.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's do a quick conference championship, just a pick 'em. It's not for the show. Actually, we got to talk about that. I think Jake, you lost pick 'em, right? You lost pick 'em this year.
100%.
I went 0 for 3 last week, though, so I don't know what your record was last week. I went 0 for 3, so.
So Jake basically made a deal with the devil. Jake made a deal with the devil, knowing that he'd lose pick 'em, have to do something stupid like eat nasty jelly beans on camera, in order to win Bedlam, and he got a little extra on top for making that deal and killed OU. So Jake lost pick 'em, but for fun, not for records or anything. Let's just go through some of these conference championship games and just take them for the show, So we got Oregon and Utah on Friday night. Utah is actually favored -3. Who are you guys taking? Oregon, Utah. Utah obviously won the first game. I think Oregon might, because it's hard to win 2 games. Yeah, it's hard to win those 2 back-to-back. Maybe not back-to-back. I don't know if it was back-to-back, but it's hard to beat the same team twice in a year. So I think I'm going to take Oregon +3.
Yeah, see, that's one of those that's so tough, because here's the thing. Utah blew them out.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't just win, they destroyed them.
That was
crazy.
That's the thing, that's the easy pick. That's why I'm taking Oregon. It's the easy pick to take Utah because they blew them out. That's why I'm taking Oregon.
That makes me that makes me even more nervous for the Big 12. But oh man, dude, it's tough. I'll take Utah just because of how well they played against them.
There's no punishment on these picks. It's just for fun.
Yeah.
I'll fade Jake and I'll take Oregon.
All right. So Preston and I are riding with Oregon. Baylor, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's sitting at 5.5 on the score app right now. I'm going to take Oklahoma State. I do think you guys win that game. I think you guys probably win it a little handily. You just you got to finish off the year strong and get into the playoffs. So I think you guys win that game handily. Jake, you can take it if you want, but I know it's your team, so maybe you won't. And Preston, if you want to take it, I know you don't give a shit.
Yeah, I think OSU will win. That's one of those games, man. That environment is. I don't know how it's going to be like, but I don't know. Jerry World, when it's not completely full, and it's never been completely full. Whenever I went there, it's kind of a weird place, environment wise, just because that thing is massive. And I think the only time I went when it was full was that OU Texas Big 12 championship game. Other than that, it's just kind of a weird, just corporate kind of vibe, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I will say OSU through the university, we've sold out in tickets. There's still a bunch of tickets probably on CQ. Yeah. I mean, it says 100,000. There's no way 50,000 Oklahoma State fans are gonna go because it's just too expensive. But
are there even 50,000 Oklahoma State fans?
That is unbelievably disrespectful. and there absolutely is. I mean, dude, there's millions of Oklahoma State fans.
I'm kidding, Jake. I'm kidding. That was just an easy low blow.
I'm gonna do the Kurt Herbstreit. I'm gonna call the game, so I'm not gonna take a pick in this. So right. I appreciate you guys taking Oklahoma State. That's that at least makes up for it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm riding with Oklahoma State for sure. Georgia, Bama. Georgia's favored 6.5. That's a tough one.
Georgia's winning the national championship.
Yeah, I think it's Georgia. I think Georgia. It is a tough one though, because it's like 6.5. Like, you think Bama's going to be able to at least stay within a touchdown, right? It's going to be a field goal game. But then again, it's Georgia. And
I was not impressed with Bama though last week against Auburn. So Auburn gave them that game.
They should have lost.
They should have lost that game.
Lost.
It's insane. That was insane.
I don't really care. I'll take Georgia. I need Georgia to win.
Yes,
that's a huge thing for us. We need Georgia to win.
Since he's only 10.5 favorite over Houston, you also need Houston. You would love to see Houston win that game. I know, Jake. So
where's that played at? Is that played on a campus or is it at neutral site?
It's got to be a neutral field. It has to be, right?
Nippert Stadium, Cincinnati, Ohio. Nippert Stadium.
So they're playing at Cincinnati. Yeah. Give me Cincinnati.
Cincinnati plus or minus 10.5. Yeah. I'm going to take Cincinnati minus 10.5.
Yeah. Houston's been playing better. I mean, really the only bad thing that Houston had was they lost to Texas Tech early in the year, but
yeah, that was their only loss too, right?
Yeah, they might have lost.
Yeah, they only have one loss, so yeah.
Okay, so there's the
game.
Texas. Yeah, opening game against Texas Tech, and I think they've improved. So I think it'll be a nail biter, but yeah, I think Cincy's just a little bit better. But what is it, 10.5? I'll take Houston. I'll take plus 10. Yeah, I'll take plus 10.5.
Wake Forest, Pittsburgh minus 3 for the ACC championship. Wake Forest is on a downhill slide. I'm taking Pitt.
Yeah, give me Kenny Heisman.
And 100%. Taking Pitt too. What a sad way for the ACC championship game, dude. That's probably the saddest ACC title game I've ever heard in my life.
So sad.
Wake Forest.
Yeah, Wake Forest.
Insane.
It's actually embarrassing for Clemson. They should be
Florida
ashamed.
State, Clemson,
Iowa,
North
Michigan,
Carolina,
Big Ten championship. Just out of principle, I'm going Iowa plus 11. Got you.
Yeah, I'll take Michigan.
I'll take Iowa.
And
I want Iowa.
Do we know? I actually was wondering this. Do we know if Lincoln Riley's coaching the USC because they play California?
I would imagine no.
I'd imagine no as well. He's probably going to be there. California's
That's so weird.
4
How are they
against USC?
Why? Oh, it's because they had a COVID game.
Right. Okay.
That's why they're playing.
They're both 4-7. I'm taking Cal. I feel like someone needs to whoop up on Lincoln Riley's team once again. 2 weeks in a row, 2 games in a row.
USC's defense is atrocious.
So California,
but
that's not even
I don't
know.
Cal, yeah.
But yeah, so the rankings come out. So yeah, by the time everyone sees this, the rankings will be out.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I know, Preston, you got work. Jake, do you want to do? I guess we can fucking talk about this after. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, guys. Preston, Jake, any last words for this episode? Is probably going to be one of the last ones for the season because we only got bowl season and we'll do one next week, I believe, and then we got bowl season. And
we'll do one next week because it'll be selection and we'll figure out the bowls and it'll be Army Navy.
Navy,
that's always
Navy
great.
Needs to get rid of Under Armour and go to Nike or something because they are putting out terrible uniforms and disappointing me year in and year out. So, but go Navy, beat Army. Yeah, if you guys got nothing else, that's the show. Regular season for the 2021 college football season is over. It's done. Jake is the only team to win and the regular season on a winning note, which is sad.
Yeah.
Very sad.
Over under was 8. 11-1, baby. 11-1.
All right, Preston, Jake, good riddance. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at The Fake Seer, at Jake Cart, at PrestonPool405. Peace.